It's a weird, sick scene, folks, and frankly, I don't really know what's behind it, and I don't really want to know what's behind it. Welcome back. Be sure to subscribe. Let's get right to it. First topic. So Tim Walz claims he was chosen by Kamala Harris to be her running mate because he could code talk to white dudes. Go ahead, take a look at the clip.
I'm a team player. I'm with it. And there's folks that I recognize are smarter than me. They analyze this. You put your input in. Running a campaign that had never been run before, 100 days, in the situation we were at, running against a very unusual opponent on the other side. And look, my job was to do it. Look, I knew I was on the ticket. I would argue because we did a lot of amazing progressive things in Minnesota that improved people's lives. But I also was on the ticket, quite honestly, because I could code talk to white guys watching football, fixing their truck, doing that I could put them at ease. I was the permission structure to say, look, you can do this and vote for this. And you look across those swing states, with the exception of Minnesota, we didn't get enough of those votes.
Yeah, sorry, Tim, but you're the dude who put tampons in boys' bathrooms. Any sort of self-respecting dude is not going to be down with that type of guy who wants to do that type of shit, It's funny how they put the guy out there in his camouflage. They gave him a gun and pretended like he was a hunter, and they labeled him to be Coach Walz because he was some sort of like assistant high school football coach or something. The guy was basically just a total joke the whole time, and everybody saw right through the shtick. No men were like, oh man, yeah, Tim Walz, I want to vote for that guy. Kamala, she's great because she's got Tim Walz, just the picture of being a man, right? Yeah, get out of here, Tim. Anytime anybody does any sort of weird crap, like even suggests putting tampons in boys' bathrooms, but actually goes through with it, that's somebody you don't want anything to do with, right? That's somebody who's just pushing some fake agenda, who just thinks that that's what people want these days, when we all know that's not what people want, especially the election showed us that. I mean, people vehemently voted against Tim Walz and what he's pushing. And Kamala, obviously, because she was just sickening and terrible. But yeah, Tim Walz, code talking to white dudes. Yeah, right, bro. Yeah, right. But all right, let's get to the next topic. So did Michelle Obama just have a Freudian slip, or did she finally admit to everybody that she's actually a man? Now, we have to go by what she says in her words. Go ahead, take a look at the clip.
I wanted to talk, Marlon, a bit about, just so proud of how you are being a role model for dealing with a child that's transgender.
Absolutely.
And that's, that warms my heart, particularly as a Black man. Would you care to share that journey of...
Well, I learned...
Yeah, so was that some sort of Freudian slip there, or did she finally just say the quiet part out loud? I've never been somebody who just kind of casually misgenders themselves, I guess, like Michelle Obama does. I've never been like, oh yeah, as a white woman, I'm just so proud of blah, blah, blah. But yeah, finally, I think it just kind of boiled over and it finally came out. Michelle just couldn't keep it a secret any longer, and it just got blurted out, and just, I don't know how her people let that podcast get out there with that type of, slip up like that, but whew, let me know what you think. Remember, allegedly, there's a lot of allegedly claims out there that Michelle may have been a man, may have been transitioned as a kid, and there are no pictures of her pregnant. She's apparently had 2 kids, and there's not one picture of her pregnant. I guarantee you I could go to my mother right now and be like, oh, do you have any pictures of me pregnant? And she'd be like, oh, or of her pregnant, and be like, oh, yeah, of course, but I'll get you 3 of them right now. But it's just weird. Michelle, Michael, I don't know. Go ahead and let me know what you think. I just think it's 50-50 at this point. I'm definitely 50-50 on this one. But all right, let's get to the next topic. So, to absolutely nobody's surprise, Robert De Niro's kid has come out as trans. Here's the clip.
Robert De Niro's daughter has come out as trans. In an exclusive interview with Them magazine, Erin De Niro opened up about navigating her transition journey and her identity. She said, trans women being honest and open, especially in public spaces, helped her realize, maybe it's not too late for me. A few media publications commented on Erin's transformation after she was snapped by paparazzi last month, wearing heels and long pink locks Fox, calling her look rebellious and barely recognizable. Commenting on this, the 29-year-old tells them, "Not only did they get information wrong about me, they just sort of reminded me that people really don't know anything about me." She shared how her childhood experiences affected and shaped her into the woman she is today. She says that she was ridiculed and excluded by her peers for being feminine, bigger-bodied, and different in ways she could not yet describe. As the child of Robert De Niro and Tukey Smith, Erin also shared how growing up biracial further complicated her search for belonging, although her parents were supportive of her queerness. Erin adds that she came out as a gay man in high school, but faced ridicule for not fitting the mainstream beauty standard: white, thin, muscular, and masculine. Her influences include black women, such as Laverne Cox, Marsha P. Johnson, Jules LeBron, Michaela J. Rodriguez, Naomi Campbell, and Raven Simone. The aspiring model and actor has established a signature look: pink locks and pink dresses or tops. "I think a big part of my transition is also the influence black women have had on me," she added in her interview with Them. Erin shares that she has predominantly been kept out of the limelight, but is keen to share her story and be seen, particularly in the wake of Trump's executive orders affecting the trans community. She wants queer people of color and bigger-bodied people to have an Alex Consani and a Hunter Schafer.
Yeah, I mean, would you doubt for a second that Robert De Niro would have a trans kid? Everybody in Hollywood has a trans kid these days. I basically consider it the new Hollywood handbag, your trans kid, right? But it's just like, what is going on here, you know? Is this one of those situations where it's like, hey, Robert, you know, we know you really want an Oscar and you're putting a movie out and you want some good box office returns, right? We're going to need you to have a kid go trans because this is the new Hollywood thing, you know? We need to promote this more. We want this to be out in Hollywood like it's like the thing to do in Hollywood. And then, you know, Robert gets his Oscar. He gets a great return at the box office, but he's got to give up one of his kids in return. I don't know. I just think this Hollywood scene is just so weird that it's just such an anomaly that they all have about 3 trans kids. I mean, what, does Charlize Theron have like 3 trans kids? Angelina Jolie, she happened to adopt 3 trans kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's something way more mysterious going on here in Hollywood than just meets the eye. Than just, oh, you know, we just love it. Maybe they just want the brownie points in Hollywood, and that's the only way you really get ahead these days, and is because you're like so celebrated with your trans kid. But I don't know. I think something else is going on there. And of course, Robert De Niro, I mean, he's going to be forced to go out in public now and probably do some sort of tour promoting the kid and the new gender and the new name and, you know, the whole shebang and blah, blah, blah. And now the guy's just going to be humiliated in front of everybody and just the whole public eye. You know, it's a weird, sick scene, folks. And frankly, I don't really know what's behind it, and I don't really want to know what's behind it. All right, so let's get to the next topic. Starbucks employees are getting pretty pissed, and they're showing their displeasure at the new dress code. Spoiler alert, the majority of them are trans. Go ahead, take a look at the clip.
Something that Starbucks loves to do is allow partners to be themselves, or whatever that PR that they want to push. I don't understand how that's in good faith of letting us express ourselves. I don't understand how that's supposed to embody craft and culture and bring us back to that coffee house kind of vibe that Starbucks is asking for, because for some reason you all can't understand how to schedule more people in a zone. You can't understand that people are taking LOA, and that you can't understand that it's not appropriate to tell someone that they are okay, that they should be doing the work of 4 people. That's disrespectful. I'm sorry, how often do I see you actually on the floor and actually helping instead of going against things that help us? When your partners are saying, I need you, I need help. Sorry, we're busy. I'm doing admin. Sorry.
This is not a legal action that Starbucks is taking by unilaterally deciding what the dress code is going to be and then creating this so-called feedback session where the dress code's already created and we're just expected to let off some steam and still accept it. Lying down. This isn't a feedback
that any of these partners feel manipulated by all of you all who are also continuing to push this agenda on us.
Yeah, so all they're doing is just implementing a dress code where you pretty much wear solid colors and you don't look like an LGBT trans flag the whole day, you know. People, I don't know, maybe this is some sort of thing where they're trying to get their employees to be less progressive. Obviously, I mean, that's the case, but maybe they're trying to weed out the people who won't conform to this type of, you know, new rule or whatever you want to say, because a lot of these people, you know, that work at Starbucks are a part of the LGB community, and it's like every time you go in there, you're just hit with a billboard of, you know, trans this and LGBT. It's like it's shoved right in your face, and maybe Starbucks just wants to move away from that. I mean, they've promoted that for years and years and years, and I think they're finally starting to realize, especially after the election, that God, people don't want to just go into a place and be just like, have it just shoved in your face that we're queer and we're like so like progressive here. And you know, Starbucks is so expensive anyways now. I mean, I had to stop going there just because, just out of principle, I'm not paying like $7 for a coffee. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if it's like people are just sick of Starbucks, the price hikes and how expensive it is, and just going in there and being hit with like 3 different just mentally like wild, weird trans folk that you don't even know like what's going on. It's just kind of just like, wow, every time you go in there, it's insulting my intelligence. But it just goes to show you that the people these days, the youth, they just can't even, like, the pussification of America, where everybody got a trophy and everybody was told they're incredible. Nobody will conform, and you can't have a dress code at a place anymore, or appearance standards even. Like, you remember back in the day where people, they would get a sleeve tattoo, but they wouldn't tattoo their wrists because they still wanted to be able to get a job and put a long sleeve shirt on and cover up their tattoos. See, people back in the day knew that, oh yeah, you know, businesses, they don't want scumbags representing their business, so they have appearance standards, and they don't want people with tattoos on their faces or on their hands, or they want people to come into their establishment and feel welcome, like, oh, this is a nice place, it feels good coming in here, it's got nice people. And you know, the whole trans, like, you know, community, the LGBT, and nobody is liking that community. Everybody's just so like over that whole community. And if you want to go to Starbucks and you want to go in, or you want to deal with anybody who works there, that's the majority of the people you're going to be getting. So maybe they're just trying to, you know, weed those people out who will refuse to conform because Starbucks is taking away their personal expression, you know, and they feel like that's like the end all be all. And I think Starbucks wants those people to get the hell out of there, you know, because hello, people. Your big corporation that you work for, I hate to break the news to you, but they don't give a fuck about the employee, right? All they care about is the bottom line and making sure this quarter's numbers are better than the last quarter. And you get screwed, and they don't care about you, and then you get forced to do a dress code. But all right, that's it for today. Be sure to like, subscribe, and we'll be seeing you.